All right, problem number 63, use derivative recognition to find the limit. What that means is that this limit is actually asking you to find a derivative, but you need to be able to recognize what the derivative is. Well, this limit is in the form, the limit as h approaches 0 of f of c plus h minus f of c over h. And it is the derivative, the limit definition of a derivative. So you need to identify what f of x is. Okay? So if you look at this structure of this fraction, the first term is f of c plus h, and you can verify that's true because you see the h right there. Well, if that's true, then what is our c value? Our c value is 3, right? It says c plus h. So c equals 3, and we need to identify what is f of x. Well, think about what f of c plus h means. F of c plus h means you have your function f, but it's had a c and an h put inside of it. So if you look past the c and the h and pretend that it just said an x, that would be your function. So our function would be that right there, 5x squared. Notice that whatever was inside the parentheses, that 3 plus h, just replaced it with an x, right? Because what does function notation mean? Well, function notation means if f of x is 5x squared, if I wanted f of 3, use a different number. Let's say if I wanted f of 4, well, that means take 4 and plug it in to x, so f times 4 squared. If I wanted f of, I don't know, a smiley face, I would start writing my function, but instead of an x, I would write a smiley face. And then I would just do everything else I'm supposed to do to x to whatever's inside the parentheses. So f of 3 plus h would be 5, but instead of x, I would write 3 plus h, and then I would square it, because f of x is 5x squared. Well, this is what I had up there to start with. You just need to work backwards to recognize that it's actually that function, 5x squared. All right, well, what do we do with that information? Okay. Well, this is the limit definition of the derivative. You're clued off to that because it says use derivative recognition. So recognize that this is a derivative, and then what do? Well, we take the derivative. So we find f prime of x using the power rule. So 2 times 5 is 10. X, subtract 1 from 2 to get a power of 1. 10x is our derivative, and we were told the c value was 3, which means we want to know what is f prime of 3. And so we take 3 and plug it in for x in our derivative, and we get 10 times 3 is 30. Okay? So that was like some explanation. The problem shouldn't take you nearly that long. It says use derivative recognition, so you need to look at that first term, look past the stuff inside, replace it with an x. So f of x is 5x squared. Take the derivative using the power rule, 10x. Plug in the c value inside. So plug in 3. 10 times 3 is 30. It's quick.